Three-man front nation. Let's ride.
With that, we're going to get into it this week. It is July 31st, 2022. We're ready to talk some college football here on the three-man front. So we're going to start a new segment here. It's called the Fumble or Fruit Basket of the Week. Basically, if you have a fumble of the week, you're going to ridicule somebody. You're upset what they did this week. You're going to give them a fumble. If you're wanting to applaud somebody, you give them a fruit basket, and that's kind of how it works. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and give it to Tom for his fumble or fruit basket of the week.
So my fruit basket of the week, not really a fruit basket, but more actually, no, I'm going to say it's a fumble. I hate that, like, college football has gone away from the neck pad. I hate it. I think you see a middle linebacker with a neck pad, I'm scared. I'm not running up the middle if I see that, you know? I mean, think of the 80s back in the day. You had those middle linebackers, those crazy guys with the neck pads. I mean, you just don't want to face it. I just cannot believe that we're going farther and farther away from it. Listen, in the NFL, Leighton Vander Esch, I'm a huge Cowboys fan. He sucks. He's a horrible linebacker. But he's got a neck pad, so it's just I love it. I hate to say it, I love him because of that neck pad. And I think college football needs to go back to the big pads, go kill someone, go hurt your neck, put your life on the line for the game. That's all I'm saying.
So here's my question. Who's the first player that comes to mind when you think of a neck pad? Because mine is, without doubt, Brian Brosworth.
I would say that or Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. See, does he? Okay, that's good. See, when I used to play NCAA football, I'd always put a neck pad on my player just to make him look beefier. I like you know, let's
character.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Kenneth Murray, like, playing for the Chargers now. Imagine him with a neck pad. That's
Didn't
terrible.
He have a neck roll or neck?
I think he had a neck roll, and I mean, he was a scary dude.
Yeah, it does make
a large man terrifying.
Yeah. A fast linebacker with a neck roll or a neck pad is like, oh boy, that's hype video material.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's a good one, Tom. I'm glad we're talking neck pads.
I love a good neck pad. I don't know what to say, man.
All right, Drew, you're up.
All right, my fumble of the week is Texas football this week has been pretty awful at recruiting. They have a guy who his dad played at Texas for 4 years. He's a legacy kid, but he's about to commit to OU tomorrow.
We're talking about Colton Vasek or Vasek?
Colton Vasek, yep.
He's also from Austin.
Yeah, he's from Austin. His dad played 4 years in Texas, and somehow they're about to lose out on him. It's pretty sad if you ask me.
The Casey Thompson effect.
Yeah. And then they also lost out on one of probably their biggest prospect, which is Anthony Hill, who's supposed to be like a Texas lean for a little bit, and then ended up coming to A&M yesterday. So
I can't blame anybody that goes to A&M. It's not another school's fault that they went to A&M.
They just got the bag.
Paid them. Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I would take
the bag. But
right,
I mean,
again, college football news this week. My fumble of the week is going to be, I don't even know how to say his name. I think it's George Kliakov, Pac-12 commissioner. This guy's an absolute clown. He's a joke. These kind of people being in the business of football is why we're seeing all these teams leave, right? I mean, he's one of the more main reasons. Again, he took the job last year. So saying that USC and UCLA leaving is his fault is kind of a little bit ridiculous. But he goes on and he's completely, just very brazen about what he's saying about the crapping on the Big 12, just crapping down the Big 12. He's saying, I haven't decided if we're going shopping for the Big 12 teams. Here's the deal, George. Let me tell you something, George. You got no chance. Let's go. Raise your hand if you think the Pac-12's alive. Nobody raises their hand, George. No one. George, the Pac-12 is dead. And here's the deal. Why are you so upset with the Big 12? The Big 12 hasn't stolen any of your teams. Your teams got stolen by the Big 10, George.
They literally just took all the group of 5 teams. That's the best group of 5 teams. That's all they've taken. That's all they've taken so far.
So during conference alignment, the Big 12 has had so many teams stolen from it. The Big 12 has never stolen a team from Power 5 conference. And George Kliakov goes up there and acts like the Big 12 is at fault. What are we talking about?
Isn't the Pac-12 also like millions of dollars in debt right now? Like millions of dollars?
I mean, I think they're in debt, but they certainly are making the least amount of money of any of the Power 5 conferences. So that's the thing that's real big joke. Anyways, that's my end of the rant for George Kliakov. He's the fumble of the week. But guys, here's the more important part: is that college football starts very soon. I think we've got 4 more Saturdays till week 0, and it's going to be a kickoff in Dublin with Northwestern and Nebraska, which is interesting in its own right. But when that game kicks off, what are we drinking this year? We're all 21 this year. What's the go-to tailgating drink, watching football drink for the boys?
For me, I'm going the cheaper option, Busch Light Apple. Tastes like apple juice.
What you got to add the apple.
You gotta have the apple, not regular Busch Light.
Apple?
Have to.
Oh, the apple makes the entire drink.
Yeah,
It's the best tailgate drink out there.
I like it. So I went with Busch Light as well. I did not add apple though, although apple doesn't make it any worse. I don't think it makes it even better maybe. But last year they had the corn can. The Busch Light had like little corn cob on the side of the can. That's when you know it's football season, when you see the corn can. Corn can, that means the corn can edition. You know, the leaves are falling. It's time. Kickoff's about to happen, baby, when the corn can comes out.
Can't wait.
I went with, I couldn't really decide. I this weekend had a family reunion and drank quite a few beers myself. And I fell in love with Coors Banquet once again. It continues to be a staple of my drinking career, and it will continue to stay that way. That, and then Bud Light Platies, man. 6% alcohol in those things, they get you going, I'll tell you what. But I'll probably those two. I'll probably switch off. Kind of depends on the week. Away game, I'm definitely doing a banquet, but a home game, you can see me drinking Bud Light Platy.
Okay, so a home game means a platinum's coming out.
I mean, I got to get up for an OU football game, man. I can't have just a banquet. I need something with a little more kick. But
I respect it. So here's my other questions. No free promos here, but have you guys tried Bud Light Next yet? It's
No.
like a zero carb beer.
I never heard of it.
I'm not.
It's the next big thing, guys. It's the next big thing. It's like the vegan of beers. Anyways, so my other drink that I put down here was I introduced this to you guys a couple weeks ago. Whiskey sour with cranberry juice.
Yeah, it's good.
It's elite.
It's
now,
very good.
here's the problem with whiskey sour and cranberry juice. It's great. That next morning, you're going to wake up. You're going to be trying to check your fantasy team. You're not going to know who's on your fantasy team. You're going to have no clue where you are. You got nothing.
It's going to be a rough morning.
It will be a rough morning because A, they taste so good, you're going to keep drinking them, and that's sugar. And B, the sugar is just, I mean, it takes a toll on you. In the morning, you're going to have no clue what you're looking at on the TV screen.
So I will also say, speaking of mixed drinks like that, since I've gone to the bars, some of my friends have been force feeding me a little cranberry vodka with pineapple juice. And you know what? I'm not going to order it personally, but if someone has it, you know for a fact that I don't say that. I will drink it every single time. I'm sorry. It's amazing. I won't order it, but I will drink it. Yeah, Logie's getting down.
Yeah,
to
everyone asks.
I'll tell you what.
Okay, here's my other. This is a situational one. And here's the deal. So you went out on Friday night, football game, you got an 11 a.m. kickoff, right? Oh boy. Got to get up for it though, because it's big noon kickoff. It's a big opponent. So you get up, you go to the game. You no drinking really before because you just woke up. It's game time. So after that game, you're running on fumes, right? But you got to keep watching ball, right? We've got Georgia, Florida here at 2:30. CBS, same songs playing. We got to get up. Vodka Red Bull gets it flowing. You're still getting drunker, but then got a little energy. Red Bull kicks in. Time to watch football, right? So that's where I'm at. Sustain the. It's like an Adderall for your tailgating Saturday. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. Red Bull vodkas have been. I mean, they've been a staple for a while, and I don't see them going away.
I don't see them going away. The stock keeps rising on a Red Bull vodka. I think so. I think that's where I've been. All right, so let's get into some actual football talk here, guys. The upcoming season, we just said it a minute ago. We're close. We're getting closer. But there's these head coaches that will be coaching their first games here in September at the new school that they're at. So who's a first-year head coach that you're buying, and who's one you're selling this year at their new school?
Well, are we doing it based off like how they're going to do just for 1 year, or like
just for 1 year? Yeah, just for 1 year.
So, person I'm buying Dan Lanning. I think he's just going to bring a good culture. He has an SEC culture in him. He's going to bring it over to the Pac-12. One of the weakest cultures out there is the Pac-12. So, I mean, I think it's going to run it. I think Oregon's going to run the Pac-12 this year. And so, what I'm going to sell, Brian Kelly. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I just don't know. I don't know much about LSU, but they came off an off year. They just lost their quarterback to Texas A&M, so we'll see how he can do.
It's certainly a culture shock, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Notre Dame to LSU.
Yeah, Notre Dame to LSU. They're Catholics versus hillbillies.
Catholics versus Tigers.
Yep. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. So for mine, I have two for my winning. One is very biased with Brent Venables. I think clearly already he is doing something right. He already has a higher recruiting class than Lincoln Riley ever did at OU, which is kind of insane to think about. He's been here for less than a year. And he's just a good guy. I mean, if I'm a 5-star and he comes to my house and starts talking, he loves to talk. He loves to, what was he saying in the?
He loves to talk.
He's blowing and going. He's sucking that hose down, and I'd be sucking whatever he's giving me. I would.
Fair enough.
But I have Brent Venables, and I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be great for OU. He's changed the culture already. And I'm buying everything he's selling me. He's blowing and going, as we said. And my second one is Marcus Freeman. I just see him being a great coach. I don't know what it is. I love a defensive coordinator becoming a head coach. Because I mean, defense wins championships. It does. And if you can stop Alabama's offense, I mean, I think you're obviously a pretty good spot. And I think Marcus Freeman's going to take Notre Dame to the highest level, and hopefully he's the coach that finally gets him that New Year's Six Bowl win. Haven't seen it in a while, but
he could have been last year. It was his first game. He could have won.
No, yeah, still can't get it. Notre Dame's been a little bit dry recently, but hopefully he brings it around. My selling, Jake, you'll never guess who I'm selling.
I've got
Lincoln Riley. I hate the guy. I hate him. Every bit in my bone. However, whenever he leaves USC to come coach the Dallas Cowboys, I will welcome him with open arms, happily. Can't wait for that moment. But I did a little research. So if we remember, I don't know exactly what year, but OU had the worst defense in the country. We did go to the playoffs. We got our arse kicked.
Kyler Murray's year.
We were down 21-0 within like the first 4 minutes of the game versus Alabama. It was rough to watch. Lincoln Riley is now the head coach of a team that has walk-ons basically for an offensive line. And the last year was the 102nd ranked defense. We saw what Alex Grinch did at OU. He made it better, but I mean, we still had Kansas's offense competing against us. The little shifting bullshit, I'm tired of it. I can't wait to see teams dominate that defense. It's going to be awesome to watch, and it's going to happen again. Hate to say it, but those three, I'm going with. I just got a feeling with the first two, they're going to be great. But Lincoln Riley, he's gonna be successful. The Pac-12 sucks, but I just don't see it going to the college football playoffs. I really don't.
Can't be much worse than 4-8.
What?
I said it can't be much worse than 4-8.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with Texas. That's a completely different topic, but I don't think they can get much worse than they were last year.
Yeah.
Okay, but so here's the thing. I actually was different on both a couple of coaches here. So Drew, you were selling Brian Kelly. I'm buying Brian Kelly, and not because of Brian Kelly, but just because LSU is able to bring in so much talent so quickly. You look at all three of the last coaches that coached at LSU. All three of them won a national title. Even though Les Miles was a little bit creepy, I guess, to girls and a weird coach, and Ed Orgeron, I just simply don't think is a good coach. They still won national titles at LSU. So I think that he's going to be pretty good, especially in his first year, because they had so many transfers. And a lot of the transfers they brought in are experienced guys. So that certainly helps. I'm also buying Joey Maguire at Texas Tech. I just think he's too energetic and too Texas Tech they're not a sleeping giant by any means, but Texas Tech has a good fan base. They're a good fan base for basketball and baseball. They also are in a massive recruiting state. Texas has the best recruits, so why can't Texas Tech be good at football? I don't know.
I've also heard that he is very connected to pretty much every
Well,
high school in Texas,
he
and
was the high school coach.
yeah, and he knows everyone, and they're gonna steal some guys from Texas. They're gonna steal guys from OU.
Yeah,
but
I mean, there's guys that they don't even really have to. There's enough talent in Texas. You don't have to steal anybody to be a good team. Now, to be a great
exactly.
team,
Look at Baylor. Baylor has made a living off just turning 3-stars into NFL talent.
Yeah, well, Baylor with Rule, they were recruiting guys based on basically how measurables. They weren't recruiting if you were really solid at football even. And that's why you saw their guys do incredible at the NFL combines, because he was recruiting guys based off how they were at track. But yeah, so I'm buying him. I'm selling Sonny Dykes though. TCU, his first year from SMU. I don't see it, man. I tried to view it with a glass half full, but I'm not a Sonny Dykes guy. And then the guy I'm selling here last that will contradict with you, Tom, is Marcus Freeman. Now, I'm not selling him full time. I'm selling him this year. I don't think this year that Notre Dame's going to be great. They also have a pretty tough schedule. They're going to have to replace Kyle Hamilton, Kyron Williams, Jack Cohn, a lot of guys that were really good. Then the Tagovailoa guy that was defensive tackle. Granted, they are playing their hardest schedule that Notre Dame has played in quite a while. So they've actually got some competition this year, whereas last year, their schedule was a joke.
Hey, we're going to see the BYU Cougars put up a fight against Notre Dame. I'm calling it, man.
See, Notre Dame plays Ohio State first week. So at Notre Dame. So that's going to be quite a test for Marcus Freeman. And so that will be, I almost guarantee that'll probably be game day first week. So that'll be quite a start. I mean, he starts off with Fiesta Bowl, and then Ohio State on the road is not easy. So I'm kind of selling him this year just based on how hard it's going to be for him to be successful. But the way he's recruited, I think long term is going to be very good. You guys got any other thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Sorry, go ahead, Drew.
I said, I'm selling Brian Kelly just in the first year. Overall, I think, like you said, the last 3 head coaches in LSU won a national championship. So, I'm going to buy him for the future, but just next year, I just don't really see it.
It's fair. It's a fair point.
I'm pretty much the same way with Lincoln Riley. Obviously, he's going to recruit some crazy offensive talent. He's always going to have a good quarterback. He's a quarterback whisperer. I'm sorry, he is. But I don't ever see that USC defense ever being anywhere near competitive to where it needs to be. I really don't.
So here's a tangent. Honestly, I've kind of been thinking about this. Is Lincoln Riley a quarterback whisperer, or has he just had NFL starting caliber quarterbacks at every season?
I think if Caleb Williams turns into if he plays, pretty much the exact same way he did last year, he's probably going to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
But I think with Caleb Williams, it will prove it. I feel like Spencer Rattler kind of got the short end of the stick with kind of obviously we had Baker and Kyler. Those were 2 transfers. But Kyler Murray wasn't really doing anything like he was at OU. At A&M. He was good, but he wasn't crazy good. I think Lincoln. Maybe the quarterback whisperer is wrong. I think this will be the year to figure out if that's true or not with Caleb Williams. But yeah.
So that's actually a perfect segue. Drew, do you have anything about about what we just talked about? You want to talk about?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay, so that's actually a perfect segue into our next topic, which is what transfers do you think could win the Heisman this year? It could be quarterback, any position that has recently transferred or transferred a while ago. And I kind of want to phrase this by there are a buttload of transfers, but kind of which ones are you seeing as maybe a dark horse that people wouldn't expect, or one that's kind of forgotten about just because so many transfers happened this offseason?
Well, right off the bat, first one I think of is Dylan Gabriel. If he can lead OU, who just got gutted by USC, if he can lead them to like a 1-loss, undefeated regular season, you'll probably see him in New York. Caleb Williams, obviously. If Spencer Rattler can do something in the SEC, I can see him being up there too. Also, same thing with Quinn Ewers, honestly. If he leads Texas from 5-7 to like 11 wins, 10 wins, you'll probably see him up there as well.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of dark horses here. My first one was Bo Nix. I think people don't realize actually how good Bo Nix was at the end of last season before he got injured. He was playing really well. Still, the turnovers are an issue, and sometimes he's just
Loves throwing the ball to the other team. Absolutely loves it.
Sometimes he's just plain not good. I mean, it's like we can just call it what it is. Sometimes he's not good. But I think a change of scenery is actually going to really benefit him. And then I think the only thing that I think could hinder him from being really good is that I don't really know who Oregon has at skill positions other than him. So that part of it, I mean, you got to have.
So whenever OU played Oregon, half their team didn't play, but all their receivers were all freshmen. And one of my best friends is a huge Oregon fan, and he was telling me about how all these freshman receivers that were there, I think they're going to be pretty darn good. Obviously, OU's defense was icky during that game towards like the second half, but I think he might actually have a really good season. I agree with you on that one.
And it's kind of forgotten about in the sense that he had such high expectations coming into Auburn. 5-star quarterback, his dad played at Auburn and all that kind of stuff. Is that it's not that he didn't meet expectations. It's just that the expectations were so high for him. I think it will benefit him from like a change of scenery standpoint. Just kind of like getting out to where it's like first year head coach at Oregon, maybe the expectations aren't as high and he's just able to thrive in the kind of just, less stressful situation.
For my three, I kind of hit the same ones Drew did. Caleb Williams obviously is going to be up there. He's not really a dark horse, but I feel like he was too polarizing last year to not be in there. Especially still in Lincoln Riley's system, he's going to be just as good as he was last year, if not better. Sadly to say, but I have him and then Spencer Rattler. I think he could do it. Shane Beamer's a great coach. I really do think South Carolina is going to be not great, but better than they have been in a long time. Spencer Rattler, I think, is a very good quarterback, but the problem is he just got kind of overshadowed by Caleb. And I mean, Spencer Rattler, whenever he was a first year starter, what was OU that year? Like 11-2, something like that.
But you were good, obviously a good team. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good quarterback. You might not like him. I don't like how he looks. I'm going to be honest, but I think he can definitely do it. And Dylan Gabriel as well. In Jeff Levy's system a couple of years ago, he didn't go to New York, but he was definitely in the conversation for a Heisman dark horse. And he's back in that same exact system with a lot better talent than UCF could produce. I really see Dylan Gabriel having a good, really, really good year this year, and he could end up in New York by the end of the season.
So I've got another. What do y'all think about Zach Evans? TCU to Ole Miss transfer running back.
I just don't know really anything about him. He was hurt pretty much all last year, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he kind of I think he went into a transfer portal in the middle of the season, but he kind of acted hurt. I watched him play Texas last year, and he was a beast. So
when he played, he's the best player on the team. Pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I trust him with all the stuff before, with all the like recruiting stuff he was going through. Like he committed to like 7 teams or something like that.
Right.
I mean, he's probably going to be really good. I just don't know enough about him and don't know if his heart's really in it. I'll say it. I don't know if he's really going to be that guy, especially with Ole Miss with a brand new system. I guess Lane Kiffin's system, he'll run his, but I'm not too sure. We'll see. He's also very small for the SEC. So
Zach Evans?
Mm-hmm. He's like 5'10", isn't he? 5'9".
Oh, I don't think he's small. I don't think that's the issue. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I watched him play Texas, he was trucking people. So I wasn't thinking it was like a size issue. I think he's more of like, I would call him a dark horse just because we don't know what to expect from him. So that's kind of why I would put him in the dark horse category. The other one I want to throw out there, it's very underrated. And this is just one of them that has come from the FCS last year, is Cameron Ward. He's going to be Washington State's quarterback, transferred from Incarnate Word. Dude was putting up like video game numbers in FCS. So I don't think a Heisman has ever come from Washington State, but Gardner Minshew did. So he could be a kind of a dark horse. I think that would be exciting to see Washington State back up there. So next segment, we're doing over-unders for season win totals. All these numbers are from DraftKings. They've just recently came out with season win totals for each team. So we've got 4 selected teams here that we thought would be good or bad bets, and we're going to pick them. So the first team is a very interesting team. We talked about them previously on this podcast, and it seems like the thought here is kind of everywhere. The opinion is kind of everywhere. Shane Beamer is their coach, and that means the South Carolina Gamecocks. Their number is 5.5. You taking over or under?
I got the over. I like what Shane Beamer's doing down there. They just got a couple pretty good transfers. They got Spencer Rattler. They got Austin Stodner. I got them going 7-5 this year. I'm looking at the schedule right now. They got a win against Georgia State probably. They got one against Charlotte.
You'd hope.
South Carolina State, Missouri, Vanderbilt. Probably.
That's 5 right there.
Yeah, and then maybe Tennessee. Throw Tennessee in there.
Play Kentucky.
Oh yeah, I think they'll beat Kentucky, but it's at Kentucky, so that could be iffy.
Yeah, it's true.
With Will Levis, I don't know.
Yeah, they certainly don't have an easy schedule, but 5.5. I'm also going to take the over. Tommy, what do you think?
I also am taking the over. I have them going probably around 8-4. I think Spencer Rattler comes in and really does a tizzy in the SEC. I think he will. I think he's going to do a good job. He's a good quarterback now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Spencer Rattler in a different situation just because he's had so much excitement and hype. And also when he was at OU, it was kind of like, well, is it Lincoln Riley that's such a good play caller or is Spencer Rattler like good? And it's exciting to see him kind of just like on a random team. It's honestly very random that he's in South Carolina, considering he's from Arizona and was such a big recruit.
Well, it's that Shane Beamer connection. He was he was the assistant OC for Lincoln for quite a while.
Right.
I am a little nervous about Spencer because both times they played Texas, pretty much OU's biggest game of the regular season every year. I mean, he crapped down his leg 2 years in a row. He had to be benched twice. So we'll see how is it the big game that he kind of just shies away from? I think. I couldn't tell you too much because he looks good in different games, like in Bedlam his first year, he looked awesome. But I don't know. Maybe the bright lights get a little too bright for him, but we'll see.
Yeah, they also have a very good tight end room. They have Austin Stogner, and then Jaheim Bell is also really good. They have a defensive back, I think Cam Smith. That's pretty good. So they have a pretty good roster. So I'll put Gamecocks over 5.5. The next interesting team here, and they might be one of the more interesting, entertaining teams this season, and in my eyes, is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Big brand in college football, have been down for quite a while, but they're filled with transfers. I mean, they've got to transfer at every position, and the guys that they're returning aren't too bad, but they were also 3-9 last year, so it's one of those kind of give or take situations. I think it's going to be Scott Frost's make or break season, and their over and under is 7.5 wins.
Yeah, I think 7.5 wins is kind of pushing it. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now, and they have a favorable schedule, but I think that they're going to hit the under. I think they're going to have 6 wins. They play at Northwestern the first game of the year, which you never know how Nebraska's going to do, and Northwestern, you never know how they're going to do either. So we'll see how that game goes. And they got 2 FCS opponents right ahead of them after that. Then they play OU, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm taking the opposite take on that. I'm going to say they go 9-3 this year and hit the over. I think this is kind of the year Nebraska will have a bounce back, but then probably next year come down to earth where they have been for the last 10 years. I mean, how many games did they lose by like less than 3 points or something last year? Like half their games or more?
Well, half their yeah.
I think they're going to finally pull it around. Casey Thompson's, I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's not a bad one. He'll be good at Nebraska. He'll be better than Adrian Martinez, in my opinion, just from the experience playing all those Big 12 schools. Also, I think the Big 10 is an absolute sham this year, besides like Ohio State, Michigan, and I in probably Wisconsin. Those are really the only 3 schools I would even put any money on. But I think Nebraska has a 9-3 year. I really do think, as you said, all those transfers are going to come in. They're hungry. They want to prove themselves. I think they're 9-3 this year.
I like that. I'm going to go with the under here, and it's just for this reason. It's not that Nebraska is bad. They find ways to lose under Scott Frost. They are in every game, and it doesn't matter if it's Illinois or Ohio State, right? They found a way to lose, and it's not that they. Here's the thing. I want to get across to Cornhusker fans. They are one of the greatest fan bases. They do not deserve a bad team. Now, their team is not good. It hasn't been good for quite a while. It feels like longer than it actually has been because Bo Pelini was a good coach, and he was, in my opinion, wrongfully fired. But their team has sucked, and their fan base does not deserve it. But I think this is going to be another tough year, and I think they're going to get to a bowl. But at 7.5, to me, that means that for the over to hit, you got to win 8 games, and a team that kind of find a way to lose isn't a team I'm going to pick to win 8 games. So I'm going to pick with the under, but it's not with my heart; it's with my brain. And then the next team we got here is the Horn Frogs of TCU. Very interesting team. They have a lot of returning production, but a new head coach. And it's the first time they've had a new head coach in, I think, 20 years since Gary Patterson took over. Their over-under win total is 6.5. What do you got?
I think that it's going to be under. I think they're going at 6-6, like right on the nail. They just lost their running back, Zach Evans, to Ole Miss. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback there. It's either going to be Chandler Morris or Max Duggan. So I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, so I can't see. I think they're going to go 6-6.
I also have the under. I think they're going to do even worse. I think they're going to be 4-8. I could see Kansas taking them down this year. I really could. I just want to see Kansas succeed in football. I really do. They never will, but I always have that hope in my heart.
Let's get 3 this year. Let's get 3.
Let's come on. We're begging for it. We're begging for it. We want to see it. 2007 was so fun. Give it back to us.
Hey, they were hitting threes in the basketball court. Let's get 3 wins. Let's get 3 wins.
Yeah, but I'm looking at TCU's schedule right now. I mean, obviously they have the Big 12, which I think the Big 12 is going to be better than they were last year, personally, all around. I really do. I mean, they play Colorado. I bet they drop a game to Colorado playing because it's in Boulder. And, I mean, that elevation will kill you. It will.
Better get there a week early.
They do. But like I said, man, I don't see, like you said, Sonny Dykes is brand new head coach. I just don't see it come together this year. They play Tarleton State. They'll definitely get a win there.
Tom, did you say Carlton State?
Carlton with a T.
Oh, I thought you said Carlton State.
No, Carlton. No, absolutely not. And then, I mean, the rest of them are Big 12 schools, and I just see everyone pretty much on this list besides like Texas or besides like Kansas. Really, they might be the second worst team in the Big 12 next year. I really do.
So I've kind of got mixed takes here because I don't think Sonny Dykes is a good coach, but I think TCU has too much like returning talent to not hit the over on season wins. I actually heard a weird rumor that last year and a couple years, TCU's team was not like getting fed correctly. Like they weren't very big. They had like small stature for their football team. They weren't like very muscled up because they weren't eating right. So that part of it, I don't know if that's actually real or it could be a complete rumor, but I'm going to go 6.5 over. They actually return the most returning production of anybody in the Big 12 percentage wise. They're also adding a couple good transfers. Mark Perry comes to mind. So I'm not like super high on TCU, but I think 7 wins is something they can do. Next team we got here is a Utah Utes. Probably the most anticipated season Utah's had in quite a while. Just in terms of expectations. They've had good teams, but this is the most off-season hype they've received in quite a while. Off of a Rose Bowl visit, their over-under is at 9 for the season.
I think I'm going to go with the over for them. They got a tough first game of the year. They're playing at Florida, so we'll see how that goes. But
sneaky great.
What?
It's a sneaky great game. Utah.
Yeah, it is a really good game.
Could be.
They came off a Rose Bowl loss last year to Ohio State, and I'm looking at their schedule right now. The Pac-12 is pretty weak overall, so I think they can get 10 wins. They got at Oregon second to last week of the season. That's going to be a tough game. We'll see how the USC game goes, but other than that, I think they're going to win the majority of their games.
I am also with you on that. I think they go 10-2. I mean, Pac-12 sucks in football. Let's be real; they're horrible.
Fair enough.
And they're so bad. I mean, you could throw FBS schools in there. They do some damage. Like you throw North Dakota State in the Pac-12, and they're at least an 8-win team. I'll be honest. But I mean, I just don't see anyone on the schedule that's like, oh, Utah is definitely going to lose that game. They could honestly go undefeated, and for their schedule, Florida is going to be the big test. And if they can get past Florida, I don't see them dropping too many games after that.
So I've got a little bit of the opposite take. I've got them pushing at 9 wins. I think they're going to have at Florida is going to be a tough one. I think they could easily lose that one. And then they have USC and Oregon that are tough. Other than that on their schedule, you're right. It's pretty simply easy. I think UCLA is going to be better than people think. Also, they lost to San Diego State last year. We said it last pod. Utah lost to San Diego State last year. It's going to be a little bit harder of a game than I think most people think. This is an odd year because Utah and BYU aren't playing, which kind of sucks. But I still think Utah at a 9-3 record is pretty spot on. So I'm going to agree with Vegas, and I'm going to push here. But those are our team totals. You guys got any other thoughts on that?
Hey, watch out for the Southern Utah Thunderbirds. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Hey, Southern Utah.
Trap game right there.
Thunderbirds, man. That's quite a name.
What a name. Trap game. All
right. So here we go. We put out on Twitter a list of our top 10 quarterbacks in the Big 12. I guess top 10. They're the 10 starters ranked. So we're going to go ahead and kind of explain our thought process here. We had different lists and averaged them, and that became our list. That was put out on Twitter. The people were not happy with us putting Hunter Dekkers so low, but
never seen him play yet.
We've never seen him play, so that's kind of where we're at. So a little bit of this is based on what you've seen before. The Big 12 has a lot of transfers. There's only one returning starter this year for the Big 12 if Max Duggan doesn't win the job, and that's Spencer Sanders. So we're going to see quite a bit of fluctuation here, and that's kind of why the rankings are so debated. But we'll kind of go through the list here from 10 to 1 on who we had. The first guy I had at 10 was Hunter Dekkers. Iowa State fans, you can come after me. That's fine. I had Hunter Dekkers at 10 just because I haven't seen him. Former 4-star guy. Last time I watched him, he was kind of lobbing it to the sideline against Oklahoma. That was picked off by De'Aaron Turner yell. Time I remember it vividly. And that's really my only opinion of Hunter Dekkers. So if I had more of evidence, I'd probably pick him higher. I do think that left-handed, pocket kind of a little bit dual threat. I think he could be pretty good. I think the talent's there, but it's really hard to rank these guys. So I'm putting him at 10.
I'll agree with you. I think he could surprise pretty much everyone because he came in the OU game when Perrion Winfrey sent Brock Purdy to the grave. He came in for a couple plays, and he did not look bad at all. He looked like a quarterback. He looked comfortable for how young he is. I think he could surprise a whole lot of people this year, I will say.
Yeah, that was one thing I want to preface it is like, just because I rank your guy low doesn't mean we hate him. A lot of these guys are going to be good players, and we're going to be wrong. So Hunter Dekkers at 10 was what I had. Who did you guys have at 10?
I had Jalen Daniels.
Fair.
I don't think he's going to be that good this year. I'm going to be honest.
I also had Hunter Dekkers at 10 because I just haven't seen him play. I mean, I guess he played a little bit against OU, but I honestly don't remember much of that game. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the list will change once the season gets going. But yeah, that's who I have at 10.
So I've got Jalen Daniels at 9. I assume I didn't really watch him except for the Texas game when KU played Texas. He looked phenomenal in that game. He really did. Honestly, I'm excited to watch him this season. I think he's got a lot of potential. It's just the weapons around him. Kwame Lassiter is gone, and then his offensive line. Is he going to be able to be protected? I don't really think so. So that part of it worries me. So I put him at 9.
I put him at 9 as well. I mean, at the end of the day, he plays for Kansas, so
right. It's tough to rank. It's tough to rank anybody on Kansas high.
A 3-win season for Kansas is like a national championship for most teams.
I cannot wait. Those 3 wins are coming this year, Jayhawk fans.
They're coming.
I'm
They
telling
got a
you,
new coach.
Why not shoot for 4? Let's shoot for 4.
What's his name?
Lance Leipold, he's a hell of a coach, man. I'm
Yeah.
ready for him. He's the right man for the job. We're shooting for 4, Tom.
I'm shooting for 4. I'm taking 4 this
I
year.
hope so.
I'm doing it.
Big Jayhawk fan this year.
Big Jayhawk.
I'm a huge Jayhawk fan.
Let's see him beat Texas 2 years in a row.
They
Let's
beat
do it.
Texas.
Why not?
If they beat
Why
Texas,
not?
man, oh boy.
For my 9th,
They almost beat Texas a couple years ago again. Like it was overtime.
I'm telling you, Kansas has Texas's number. I don't know how. I don't know what they're doing. They might be cheating. Honestly, I wouldn't be too shocked, but
I don't think
they got their number.
I think there's evidence for them not cheating.
Yeah.
Right? 2-10 season every year.
Maybe just a text. Someone's leaking in.
Oh gosh.
Straight shit.
Hey, wait, my Wi-Fi is bugging out. All right, I think we're fine.
All right. For my 9th, I have Hunter Deckers. Like we said, he could surprise all of us and be the 3rd best quarterback in the Big 12 this year. Who knows? We don't know yet, but we'll have to see. I can't say anymore. We just haven't seen him play too much, so it's hard to rank him.
All right, so 8, I've got Max Duggan. I think he's going to win the starting job, and I'm just not too high on Max Duggan. That's just my honest opinion.
I also have Max Duggan / Chandler Morris because I have no idea who's going to win that job. I mean, when Chandler Morris played last year, there was a couple games he looked pretty good, but then he came in against OSU and got shut down. So, yeah, I got him at 8 as well.
I have JT Daniels 7. I just hate the guy. I don't like how he looks. His dumb little mustache. He doesn't look like an athlete. I'm sorry. He has failed to win like 3 QB battles now. And at that point, like he's at his last. I mean, who's transferring to West Virginia like happily? Who is? Not a lot of people. But
To be fair,
Hey, Morgantown's beautiful.
I will say it's beautiful, but I don't want to play football there. I'm sorry.
That's fair, Tom. I'm just saying, for me, I think JT Daniels I've got him higher. So we can get there later. I've got him higher just because if he can stay healthy, he's been good. He just has been very injury prone. So that's my thing.
to be fair, he lost his job to the mailman.
The mailman.
5'9". 5'9" and strong.
God bless Stetson Bennett, man. Holding out there for all the white boys in Georgia. Gotta respect it.
Working at a Cane's, hammered.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still drunk after that win. Let's be honest.
I respect Stetson Bennett so much, man. That's just another story for another time, though. All right, at 7, I've got Adrian Martinez. I think that Nebraska had an Adrian Martinez problem. I don't think Adrian Martinez had a Nebraska problem. So that's kind of where I'm at there with him. It's not to say that he can't have a good year. I think Kansas State's going to be better than they were last year, and part of that will be his doing. But I still have him at 7. Who did you have at 7, Drew?
Well, to be honest, right here, I'm looking at my list right now, and I realize I only have listed 9 people, so I missed somebody.
Yeah, I also did the same thing.
I did not rank Texas Tech quarterback, so I'm just going to put him at 7 because
That's who I have him at 6. So we can go ahead and talk about Donovan Smith, Tyler Shuck. Not sure who's going to win the starting job. I thought Donovan Smith was good. Tyler Shuck might have more potential in the new offense they are going to run from the Western Kentucky's offense coordinators. Now their offense coordinator, it's going to be air raid, back to the old Tech days. So I think Tyler Shuck can win it because
didn't he transfer from Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon transfer. He played a little bit last year before he got injured.
I'll tell you, I remember sitting at the garage, the burger place, and me and Calvin were watching that guy just dominate someone. I don't know who. I'm all in. He's also at my 7 spot still, but I have a little soft spot for him in my heart. I do.
It's fair.
I hope he does well.
So I had him. That was at 6. So you guys want to read off your top 6 or your 6, and then we'll go through our top 5.
My 6 is JT Daniels.
Gotcha.
I literally haven't seen him play a snap because, I mean, he loses the job everywhere he goes. So I mean, we'll see how he does. I think he was a former 5-star, so obviously he has talent.
For mine, I have either Chandler Morris or Max Duggan. I feel like those two are basically the same exact player. Both of them are mobile QBs, can't really throw the ball all that well. Both of them have had games that they look good, and then games they look like they're playing like they're a 12-year-old playing against an NFL defense. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I think they're just going to be very average quarterbacks, either one who starts. They're basically the same player in my eyes. So,
All right, so top 5 here. At 5, I've got the ever controversial Quinn Ewers. He has not played a snap of Big 12 college football. I think he had a couple snaps at Ohio State. But, former 5-star number 1 quarterback in the country. We don't know anything about him really yet on the field, other than what we've watched in high school. I've got him at 5 just because I think it's conservative. I think obviously he could jump up there. Obviously he could go down. We don't really know enough about him. And that's a lot of these Big 12 quarterbacks. So it's tough to make a list, but I put Quinn at 5.
My 5, I have Adrian Martinez, also a former 5-star. I mean, he had flashes at Nebraska, but again, he always found a way to lose. So we'll see how he can do at Kansas State. They'll probably be pretty good this year with him.
I also have Adrian Martinez at 5. I think he's one of the more experienced quarterbacks coming into the Big 12, and I think that'll help him out a lot. He's played a lot of football. He'll be good. He'll be decent. I don't think he's going to be a Heisman candidate or anything. I think he sits around the 5 spot for me.
Okay, so at 4, I've got JT Daniels. We already kind of discussed him. I put him at 4 just because I think he's good if he can stay healthy. That's going to be a trick though for him to stay healthy because he has not been able to very stable at quarterback because he's been very injured.
Made glass.
Made of glass. And West Virginia last year, their quarterback Jared Diggy took a lot of shots. So is that going to, is he going to be able to be protected? I don't know. So I have him at 4.
We'll see if he even wins a quarterback battle. He hasn't won one yet.
It's a good. We'll see. It's a fair point.
At 4 for me, I got Blake Chapin from Baylor. Baylor, I think they have a chance to win the Big 12 again. I just think he's got a lot of weapons with him, and he can show it. So I got him at 4.
I have Quinn. I mean, he's a question mark. He's going to be good, but how good is he really going to be? Is he going to be that 5-star that everyone was talking about a couple of years ago, like dominating everyone? We just haven't seen it, and we just don't know yet. So I have him at 4.
So at 3, I've got Blake Chapin. Drew just touched on. Blake Chapin looked great in the Big 12 championship game. I'm not sure how much of that is able to be carried over. But Jerry Bohannon was a good quarterback for Baylor. And I know if they're going to go ahead and make that decision to go with Blake Chapin, then that Blake Chapin must be pretty good. Other than that, I don't really have any other take on him. I'm excited to kind of see him this year. But he's also another guy that's going to benefit or not benefit. He's going to have a tough time with the skill talent because Baylor loses their couple best receivers. Abram Smith, Treston Ebner are also both gone. So he's going to have some new guys, some new faces.
At number 3, I got Quinn. He was either the highest rated quarterback recruit of all time or second behind Vince Young. So I think that there's too much talent. Also Texas might have the best offense in the Big 12 this year with Xavier Worthy and Bijan Robinson. So I can see him doing pretty good this year.
I have Chapin at 3 as well. He looked amazing in that Big 12 game. He really did. He came in, stepped up to the plate, and hit a grandy. So I think he's going to be good. We'll have to see with a full year. One game anyone can have one good game. But I'm just excited for the year. Kind of like all the other quarterbacks, we just haven't really seen a ton of them other than like 1 or 2 games. So we'll have to see. Be patient and come back to it later in the season.
All right, at 2, I've got Dylan Gabriel. Was obviously good at UCF, a little bit injury prone, but we've seen him do it before. Like a lot of these other quarterbacks are transfers or guys that haven't had a full season starting. They've been all right or good at times. We've seen Dylan Gabriel be good for most of a whole season. So I put him at 2. I think he's just more trustworthy than everybody else that's lower than him on the list. But the other thing is that I haven't watched enough of Dylan Gabriel at UCF to know if it will translate to Power 5.
At number 2, I got Spencer Sanders. I think that he's by far the best athlete at quarterback in the Big 12. The only problem with him is that he's a little bit turnover prone. He had 7 turnovers by himself to Baylor last year, just to that one team. Had 3 against OU. But athlete-wise, he's by far the best athlete in the Big 12 for a quarterback. So, yeah, I got him at number 2.
I'm also there with Spencer Sanders at 2. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I'll say it. I hate him, but he's a good quarterback. He, like Drew said, he loves to give the ball to the other team in the worst moments possible. He just, like, I remember watching that Baylor game. He was just tossing it to him, just like they were on his team. He was playing for Baylor that game. Sorry. He loves giving the ball to the other team. He looked a lot better last year, turnover prone wise, but I mean, it's been pretty consistent in his career that he's just turnover prone, and hopefully that changes for him. Personally, I hope he keeps tossing the rock to the other team, but I think he's the second best quarterback in the Big 12.
Okay, well, that leads me into my number 1. I have Spencer Sanders. He was first team All Big 12 last year, first team preseason Big 12 this year. So I put him at number 1, and I don't think it's too hot of a take. Whenever he's in with the ball with our wide receivers spread out at Oklahoma State, in the 2 bowl games he's played, we've kind of gone up tempo, and he's looked phenomenal in both bowl games. Threw for 350 yards against Notre Dame, 4 touchdowns, ran for 150 as well. So he's always had the potential. Last year he was really good during the middle part of the season, but we were kind of beating the crap out of everybody, and our defense was playing so well that he was kind of more of a conservative quarterback, and we hadn't thrown it deep, and his numbers weren't as inflated due to how good our defense was playing. But he, for the most part last year, his turnovers were much better. You mentioned he had 7 turnovers against Baylor. He only had 5 in the other games in terms of interceptions. So he had 12 interceptions, 5 for 12 games, and 7 for 2 games. So it was just a real big bugaboo against the Baylor Bears, and their defense was really good. So that's why I put him at number 1. Hopefully, that turnover bug definitely reared its ugly head. I don't want to see that ever again. But I trust Spencer at this point is going to continue to get better. So I'm excited to watch him this season. But we'll see if he can kind of fix those turnover issues. That's kind of always been the problem with him. But he's become a much better scrambler as he's gotten older. So that definitely helps. But I want to let you guys talk about number 1 and who you guys have.
I have number 1. I got Dylan Gabriel because I think Jeff Levy's last year at UCF, Dylan Gabriel led the country in passing that year. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And Jeff Levy's back at OU, so he'll be back in his system. He's got weapons like Marvin Mims, Theo Weiss. He's got pretty good running backs with him. He's got a lot of returning offensive linemen, so I think he's going to have a big year.
I'm also with you on Dylan Gabriel. As I mentioned before, and Drew just mentioned, he was elite with Jeff Levy. He did lead the country in passing yards that year, Drew. And I mean, again, it was a group of 5 team, so we'll see if that translates. I hope so. I will say in the spring game, he had some rough moments, missed some passes here and there, but I have faith in him. I think him and Spencer Sanders both have the most experience. And I think that will both correlate to OU and OSU being the number 1 and 2. I could see it going either way, honestly, in the Big 12 this year. But I think those 2 teams will finish in the 1 and 2 in the Big 12. And I think that's both based off how well the quarterbacks play. And same with the rest of the Big 12. I think it's a quarterback-driven league, or college football is quarterback-driven. And I think Dylan Gabriel is the best personally, but I could be wrong in that. We'll see how it goes, though.
I love it, guys. So here's my last question for you is, who would you take longevity wise? So we're not talking just this year. Who would you rather have? So I think Dylan Gabriel has 2 more years of eligibility, I think, this year and next year.
He has his COVID year still too.
Right. Okay. So yeah, maybe even 3. I don't know if that's true, but or if he has 2 or 3, but we'll err on the side that he has 3. Or would you rather have him, or would you rather have Quinn Ewers? Granted that, say, Quinn Ewers performs well up to his recruiting standard. Would you rather have Quinn Ewers for 4 more years or Dylan Gabriel for 3? Which one are you taking?
Quinn Ewers for 4 more years by far. I mean, I think his talent, he has the most talent. He was the number 1 quarterback recruit in the country, probably the 2nd highest rated quarterback recruit of all time behind Vince Young. So, obviously there's talent there. He played Texas high school football. So, he dominated them. I think he'll be pretty good. So I'd take Quinn Ewers.
I'm also taking Quinn, but I'm interested to hear your take, Tom.
It pains me to say it, man. It hurts to say. I'd probably choose Quinn. I think him and Caleb Williams both have the highest ceiling for quarterback wise of anyone in the country. And you can't pass it down. The kid is talented. We'll see how it translates. But I mean, clearly he, as Drew said, dominated Texas high school football, which is best state for high school football for me personally. We'll see. It's tough to say just because Dylan Gabriel has already proved that he can be that guy and Quinn Ewers hasn't, but I think the ceiling is too high for Quinn Ewers to turn that down.
I agree with you guys. I'm on Quinn Ewers, just longevity wise. I think Dylan Gabriel is going to be a good quarterback. And obviously with him joining back with Levy, that's not going to hurt. But I think I'd take Quinn Ewers if I was Oklahoma. Like if I had the coaching staff that Oklahoma did, I'd definitely take Quinn Ewers. Now, the thing that for me makes it an issue is I'm not a big believer in Sarkisian. That's just my honest opinion. I'm not really a big believer in Texas. So would I want Quinn Ewers or Dylan Gabriel if I was Texas? I don't know. Yeah, but if I was Oklahoma, I'd definitely take Quinn Ewers.
Let's hope Sark stays away from that alcohol, man. That's all I'm begging him to. Let's hope he stays off of it. Texas might drive him to start getting back into it. I hate to say.
There's no alcohol in Austin. That's what they say. There's not a single drop.
I'm just saying, after that OU Texas game, there's no way you didn't pound a bottle of Jack. There's no way you didn't do it. There's no way OU should have won that game. If I'm Sark, I'm cracking that bottle back open. He loves to drive with it too, which is, it's a little rough. We'll see. We'll see if Texas drives Sark to getting fired from another job for that reason, but we'll see.
For the sake of Longhorn Nation, let's hope he doesn't pick up another bottle.
Let's pray for it.
Yeah, our best.
Because would y'all? I have a question for y'all. Would y'all say this is Sark's make or break year?
Not this early.
Not this early, no. Because they gave Charlie Strong all those years. They gave Tom Herman a couple years. Both, I think, are way worse coaches than Steve. But
yeah. Well, we'll see. Okay, last segment of the day. We're gonna do our bucket list game to go to like attend in person this season, and a game that you're least likely to go to. My first one is here. I know that you guys are going to agree with this one. Is Nebraska OU. I think it's going to be electric.
Oh yeah.
People in Lincoln, man, they're going to be up for that one. It's going to I'm just guessing it's going to be a night game. I could be wrong. I don't think that there's been a time set for it.
No, they'll give us an 11 a.m.
It's already announced. It's 11 a.m.
Oh, it's 11 a.m.
Yeah,
of course it is.
That's hard.
Why wouldn't they?
That's hard.
Why wouldn't it be?
Bob Bowlesby had to screw us one last time.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's going to be an electric game. Will be a fun one. Two Big 8 rivals getting back at it. I like it. I want to be there.
So
for mine, go ahead, Drew.
What's your game you will not go to?
Oh, my game I'll not go to. These are some bad ones. I've got two of them. I got UNLV at Cal. I'll tell you that one I will not be attending. And the other one is Kansas at Duke. Sounds like a great basketball matchup. I don't know why the hell those teams play in football. We should just get that game out of the way. I mean, it's
not even played. It's not even worth it.
Let's just sim.
It's going to be an embarrassment to football.
Let's just sim that one on the Xbox, man. That's one of those ones where you click sim week. Kansas Duke. That's not going to be a good one. I will not be at that game. Although it is in Lawrence. We could, it's not too far of a trip.
We could make the trip. We might, you know what? We should do it now.
Let's do a live pod, Kansas Duke.
Live pod in Lawrence.
All right. So who you guys got for bucket list?
My bucket list game would probably be Ohio State at Penn State this year, just because I want to experience a whiteout. I think one of the most electric atmospheres in college football. So I'd probably choose that game. For the game I would not go to, just name a single Rutgers football game, and I'm not attending.
What about Rutgers at Penn State?
No.
We're going to Happy Valley a different week, I guess.
Yeah.
So I chose a different one for how I love my sports teams and very passionate about it. So I chose two teams to go watch that is going to make me a very happy man, and that's Bama versus Texas. I would love to go and just watch Texas get murdered, just absolutely destroyed. It's going to make my day when Quinn Ewers gets destroyed by Will Anderson. I cannot wait for that moment. It's going to happen. Nick is going to send the dogs. I have an estimate that the starters on both sides of Alabama's team will be out by halfway through the third. I'll say it. I think the second team will be in for most of the second half. But for my game that I am definitely not going to is Tennessee Tech versus Kansas. No shot in hell that I am going to go watch that game. Kansas is probably going to lose. I hope not.
No, Tom.
We need those.
No. 4 wins.
Hold on. That's what I'm about to say. We need those 4 wins. And that could be one of them. But I'm not going to it because there is a real possibility Kansas will lose it. I hate to say it.
Jayhawks are going for 4 wins this year, man. I'll be there. I can't eat Duke, but I'll be there for Kansas, Texas, Tennessee Tech.
I'm not joining you. I hate to say it. I'm not going.
All I'm saying is Kansas, Texas is in Lawrence this year. Things are getting a little tougher.
Oh, dude, I would love to do a live pod there. I would love to. Yeah. Lawrence is going to be jumping.
Oh, it's going to be the same thing as the OU game last year. They're just going to let fans in for free, and it's going to be a terrifying thing for Texas fans.
Yeah. All right. So next week we're going to have some Big Ten quarterback talk. We're going to get rolling here. You guys got any parting shots?
Tuck is coming.
Tuck's coming.
Oh boy, Tuck's coming. All right. Hey, we'll see you next week, guys.